How many radioactive spiders can like get out of control and bite people?
One needs to get to me, because I'd like that power set.
Yeah, you'd like that? What's up, and welcome to Beside the Point. I'm Ryan.
I'm Justin.
And today on our show, we're going to talk about our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. What is the future for our web slinger, and what's going to be happening with Marvel's marketing for his new movie now that he's been dusted out? Not to mention what's going on with Venom. What are our expectations with that?
Man, who knows? They're just taking some risks, man. They're just jumping for it and they're going for it. I love it. But I have some thoughts. I don't know, though. We'll see.
Absolutely. And then we'll touch on what the heck Sony's doing coming up. Presented by None of This Really Matters on Nerdy Blurb TV. This is Beside the Point, and we're going to talk about Spider-Man today.
Man, what do you even say after, first of all, the ending of Infinity War, man?
If you have not seen Infinity War...
Spoilers.
First off, what are you doing? You need to watch the movie.
Change the way you think.
In fact, turn this video off and go and watch that movie
now. Exactly.
But there are going to be spoilers galore.
Massive
in this segment and very many other segments to come. But we're going to be talking about Spider-Man. Even though he's dusted, he's coming out with a second movie.
Which is so interesting to me because they're shooting it so quickly and this is where the genius of Kevin Feige comes in. I don't know, because
Kevin Feige,
producer of Marvel. Yeah, he's the head of Marvel. He's the grand chess master.
Right.
He's the one who greenlit Civil War right after Batman v Superman was announced to come out. He's just like, sweet, Civil War. You know, he just is he's good at what he's doing. But I think for me, they knew what was happening at the end of Avengers. And by the way, again, spoilers if you haven't seen it. We haven't said anything yet, but we said he was dusted. But if you didn't cry in that, by the way, I don't know who you are. Man, it was sad. But, he's dusted, and then we found out the title, which is Spider-Man Far From Home. So immediately, with the audience, the first thing you think about, where is he?
Yeah,
exactly. Where the heck is he? Is he in the Soul Stone with Gamora? Is he, in space trying to get back to Earth? Is it Far From Home in that sense? But, I don't know, I think the genius of it, because they know Tom Holland is a leaker, ever since the beginning, he leaks stuff all the time, but now they have him, pull up the iPad and say, I'm reading the script right now. Guarantee he wasn't looking at a script. He just says, hey, this is the title. I don't know. My thought is, I think it's going to be Spider-Man, maybe in space for a bit, getting home, and then maybe trying to reintegrate back to New York. I don't know.
So for a second movie, it being called Far From Home, we can already expect him to be coming back.
Right.
And that's what's weird, is because, and that's what's going to bring us into our first topic that we're going to talk about today, is how Marvel expects to market a movie, business-wise, from a business standpoint. How are they going to market for a character who is supposedly dead? I mean, we know that he's not dead because it's Spider-Man.
Right.
They're not
we know he's coming back.
Kill off Spider-Man.
Especially at the end of Infinity War, when you saw it, especially the big thing giveaway, I think, was Black Panther. When you saw he was dusted, you were like, of course they're coming back. Yeah, it's the manner in which they come back, which is going to be interesting.
Right, but here's the interesting thing about that, though, is that they started filming Infinity War, either it was before Black Panther or at the same time. Yeah, it was weird because the two directors that did Infinity War, they had no idea, because it wasn't even released yet. Black Panther wasn't even released yet.
I didn't know they did it after.
And that movie blew up like crazy. And I saw it in an interview that both of them had been asked the question, well, why'd you kill off Black Panther? Like, don't you realize that he's everybody's favorite? And they literally said that there was no way of them knowing.
They did not know the success it was going to have.
In fact, they started filming all of the Wakanda stuff way before, like, Wakanda was a thing. Like, they were, like, crossing
Wakanda
their fingers.
forever, by the way.
They were crossing their fingers saying, like, I really hope that this lands with our audience in the actual movie. It was, like, a huge gamble, which was really interesting. First off, to do that way, like, I wouldn't have ever expected that. And so it was really interesting that the directors actually said, that we shot all of that stuff even before knowing like what was going on. And in that same interview, and this is what's so interesting to me, and the reason why we're talking about this, is that they said, well, also, did you know that Spider-Man 2 is coming out right after Avengers Infinity War Part 2? And you killed him off. Like, how are you leave? Like, how do they market after that? And they said, that's not our problem.
Interesting.
And they literally said, like, that's not our problem. Like, we just make the movie. We do what we felt right at the time, and then Marvel and the Spider-Man team has to figure it out from there.
I find that really interesting because I think not the only way, but really the angle you'll have to go with marketing for Far From Home, first of all, the title, and then second, you have to show, up until we see Avengers 4 coming out next year, right before Spider-Man 2, you're going to have to show everything that happened to the people in Spider-Man's surrounding cast. And one of the great things about the movie that I thought, Spider-Man Homecoming, was the support around Spider-Man. I was really invested in Michael Keaton's Vulture. I was surprised because he was awesome.
He's like probably like in my top 5 favorite villains.
Oh, absolutely. And it was incredible. And Aunt May, of course, his hot Aunt May. And, you've got, his friends at school, MJ. Not sure how I feel about that. Flash, his best friend, all these people around him. I think the angle you have to go for marketing Spider-Man 2 would be show what's happening to them, since maybe even post the snap. Like, show maybe some of them got dusted.
So, like,
I don't know.
So are you saying, like, because it's not like we're we saw any of this in AntMan and the Wasp.
Right.
Or we're probably not going to see any of this in Captain Marvel either, because that movie comes out before Infinity War Part 2. But like I'm thinking like trailer. Are you thinking trailer wise? Like?
Yeah, I think in the trailers, what I mean, just all this stuff's happening. Maybe a teaser, and then maybe at the end you see, I don't know, like Tom Holland's eye or his face, and then it cuts to black and says, Spider-Man Far From Home. You don't know where he is. You just see.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
I don't know. So that was just a thought. Marvel, if you're watching, I don't know if you are. Do that.
Yeah, Kevin.
Kevin, I know you watch these things.
The thing is that I'm thinking in my mind is that trailers for a movie, especially a movie as big as Spider-Man 2, any movie that's in the MCU really, has to have several months beforehand.
Right.
Look what happened with Solo, a Star Wars story.
Yeah, still haven't seen it.
There's a whole other topic to talk about that in itself. But a big reason why it failed so much is because they didn't focus too much on marketing. In fact, their marketing budget was like one of the lowest that they had ever had for a Star Wars movie. Yeah, which I thought was really interesting. But I think when you are dealing, at least trying to look at it from their perspective, they're dealing with one of the biggest characters of movie history, Han Solo, that markets itself. But I think they didn't realize, because they only had one trailer for the longest time. Came out during the Super Bowl, and that was February, and then even before February really, and then there was really nothing until about a month and a half before the movie actually came out, which was not too long ago, but so long before the first trailer came out. And it just, people didn't, I don't know if people forgot about it, or people didn't really, I know a lot of people didn't like the first trailer, so they were just I don't know what to think. But let's look at it from Spider-Man's perspective. It needs to have enough trailers to come out to, one, have enough time, and two, not spoil Infinity War Part 2.
Exactly. They have to, there's a line they have to ride, and it's so thin. Because, first of all, Spider-Man was the most emotional death, I think.
Oh, by far.
Because, Tony's just kind of accepting him. He just got made an Avenger in the movie. He had that big old, it was a little scene, but you felt so good for him. He's way excited, and then he passes. He's like, I don't feel so good, Yeah. It was super emotional, and Tony thinks of him like a son, and he had that whole arc where he said...
and he wasn't even supposed to be there.
Which is nuts.
I think Tony probably feels...
And he feels like garbage, and so you have to pay that off. And that's why I think the angle of showing what happens to everybody out in his circle, up until him, in the trailers or whatever, but Yeah, it's gonna be there's a line they have to write, because if they do spoil Infinity War, in looking into this, it's that effect is going to be lost on that movie, and you don't want that.
Well, I mean,
in the wake of Avengers 4.
It leave the part 1. It left all of us like with so many questions, and
right.
And for a trailer to give away anything really, because out of all of Marvel's movies, I can say that they all stand alone by themselves,
right.
until probably post-credit scene. We've seen that with AntMan and the Wasp. We've seen that with Thor Ragnarok. We've seen that with many things. They stand on their own, except for the Avengers movies.
It's the only ones that they're all.
I would mainly focus on Infinity War, at least for now, because like it leaves us saying like, well, this is where they all. These are the movies where they all collide, and for a trailer or any kind of marketing to come out and contradict like storylines.
They can't go against anything that happened in Infinity War.
So like I'm very interested to see what they're going to do. I don't know if I have solutions for them, because like they're obviously really good at what they do, but like I like that aspect of what you're saying of like, let's do, and because the cast of Spider-Man 2 was again, like you said, it's just really, really good. Like it was such a diverse cast, and I feel like a lot of people identified with them. I feel like you could definitely make a trailer,
right? And
based upon
yes, absolutely. And I think one of the biggest things that you'd have to do is just capitalize on that, and really what you can do without spoiling anything is just bring up the emotion in Spider-Man 1. Bring up the emotion. You have the emotional payoff, or you just keep referencing Infinity War,
right,
in the marketing. That's what you'd have to do. So you almost like misdirect people, like Spider-Man 2, what happened in Infinity War? What questions do you have? Like you'd almost have to not backtrack, but they have to push people back to Infinity War till the Avengers 4 comes out. And then post that, then they can be like, okay, now you can see where he is. And also, sorry to bring this back here, but in a similar vein, I feel like, totally kind of off topic, but just a thought I just had, is Marvel is almost setting themselves up to become the new Star Wars, where almost every movie is paying off so massively and has such a large fan base.
So like from a business standpoint.
And so that I think can factor into Spider-Man too, because Spider-Man was such a huge grab for them, and like that movie made crap ton of money. And even just introducing him in Civil War, the reaction was unreal, because everyone was like, finally. So I think, Kathleen Kennedy and whomever need to take some notes from Kevin Feige, and Marvel, and see, do you see what they're doing with these they used to be B-list characters, Iron Man, Thor, they're just parts of.
Oh yeah.
But now they're household names.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's, what I mean?
It's funny you mentioned that about Marvel and Star Wars, because it's like, it's almost as if one has replaced the other.
Right, exactly.
Like I literally like I have so much more time invested in Marvel now that I'm totally fine with just leaving Star Wars as it is, like being done with it, because the baton has been passed on, and I'm fine with that, because they've just been doing so well. And it'll be interesting to see how they can take on a marketing project like Spider-Man to Far From Home, which, here's a thought, I wonder if Marvel put Tom Holland up to that, to be like, yeah, kind of like show off by accident.
Hey, so I'm reading this. Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's their strategy in marketing a movie that you can't really market, or it will spoil a potential, if not shoo-in, $10 billion movie that will be coming out right before it. So it'll be really interesting to see what Marvel is doing on that, and I can't wait for first off, just like expanding that Spider-Man universe.
Right. And I agree completely.
And not only that, like in the meantime though, that universe is also going to be expanded by Sony.
Right.
Because we're going to be having the Venom movie come out, which is actually our next topic that we're going to be talking about. So Sony in October is going to be coming out with the Venom movie starring Tom Hardy, which I don't really know how I feel about it, but I do know that I am a little bit excited for it.
And I feel like everybody shares that same view, because I'm excited for it. I know many people are excited for it, because I don't feel like we had Venom done justice yet. Like, you know, we love that 70s show, dude. Topher Grace. But, you know, Venom is the Joker to Spider-Man's Batman. You know, he's his... Well, I mean, you could make a case for anybody. It could be Green Goblin, but I feel like Venom is more...
I feel like everybody identifies him as Spider-Man's biggest bad guy.
Biggest bad guy. And you need... And, he, you know, he's one where... When I'll be honest, when I first caught wind of this, I wasn't super on board. I was just thinking,
me too.
The heck? Like, why? Why do we need this? Mm-hmm. Nobody asked for this. Nobody wants this. But it's almost the more I think about it, the more I think it could work. Like, it could work, and...
Yeah, but see, and that's what makes me wary, and we already talked about this movie before, but, like, Solo, a Star Wars story.
Right.
I didn't ask for that movie, and...
Yes,
I didn't see it either.
I haven't seen it either, yeah.
But
sorry to everybody who gets super offended by that.
Yeah, I know. I don't have time.
Yeah.
to go
if I'm going to choose my time, I don't know if I want to see that.
Yeah, right. But, like, that was a movie that people did not ask for.
Right.
And it wasn't... I don't want to call it a failure because I haven't seen it, but like it didn't produce the effect that everybody was hoping for.
It didn't live up to the expectations that the studio, you know, Disney and Star Wars wanted it to be.
Oh yeah, probably. But like when it comes to the Venom movie, I feel like there's a similarity with that and the Solo movie to where it's like, yeah, we didn't ask for this movie, and this is a character that we absolutely love. And first off, the only difference between that is that Star Wars didn't really necessarily ruin Han Solo.
That was going to be my point, that they weren't coming off of a great Venom. It was a Venom that nobody really got on board with.
It's a Venom that we're technically rebooting.
It's a reboot completely. It's going to say, is this going to be the standard now? You know, this could be... Because if it does well, then... awesome, you know. And one of the genius things they're doing in the movie is, you know, the first trailer, what was it, just the only inkling of Venom we got was Tom Hardy, you know, screaming in the bed, and then you saw a little black coming around, but then it stopped.
Right.
And then you see Venom, and everyone's like, because that was the big thing, like, we want to see him, what does he look like? And then even the official trailer, it comes out, and it took forever. The whole movie, you're sitting there, you're waiting, you saw, you know, his arms extend with the symbiote, which I think looks sweet.
It looks pretty cool.
It looks pretty cool. But then in the end, you know, finally, you know, what are you? It says, we are Venom, and it shows the Iron Man almost face come on with the teeth. I think it looks cool. It's
way cool, but like it made me worry just a little bit because it's like you took so long to even give us what he looked like, and I was kind of a fan of that because it's like I want to yearn for something.
Yes,
I want the anticipation to be there.
Right.
But then when you did give it to us, it was so, like, it was such a glimpse of it to where it's like, do you not even have confidence in your own product? I don't know. It just makes me a little bit worried. But seeing how Sony is going to be like wrapping this like unofficially into the MCU,
right?
Because. And I don't have like all the details, but I do know the fact that they still own enough rights to Spider-Man, the Spider-Man universe, to bring him in, but also to bring in Peter Parker, which we already know that Tom Holland is going to be in the movie as Peter Parker.
Yeah, because he's been spotted on sets many times,
right?
From what I understand, and I think where they're going with this, and you know, you have all the memes and the funny Kevin Feige, Amy Pascal memes,
right?
She just says, "Oh yeah, they're the same universe," and he's kind of like, not really, but
cool story.
You shouldn't spoil that, even if it is, you know. But I think what's going to be interesting to see how they play this out is, from my understanding and what I'm piecing together, is I think it's going to be maybe a different universe. Or because it's set in San Francisco, so it's across the country.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's set in San Francisco because what they're doing is this Venom movie is going to take from Venom Lethal Protector, that comic, and that one it's Venom. So what? I guess he made some deal with Spider-Man. I guess he's like, I don't know what. Something happened there, but Spider-Man sent him off and said pretty much, okay, you go to San Francisco more or less, just kind of leave us alone. And Eddie Brock is there, but it's Venom versus these other symbiotes where it's like hate, revenge, something like that. So he's fighting that. So I think in this movie they're going that route.
That's true because like I also think that it opens up to a sequel to it,
right?
To where it's him dealing with all of these other symbiotes, such as everybody's favorite evil symbiote is Carnage.
Mm-hmm.
But then like we have Scream, and then we have Fear, and then we have many other ones out there. In fact, like it makes me wonder, like, are they already planning its sequel before the original movie's even coming out?
Man, and that's where I wonder, because I almost guarantee I feel like they're gonna tease Carnage in this movie. You can't have Venom and then not have, because Carnage is crazy, and I think because of the multiple symbiotes thing, I think they're going to maybe tease him at the end. Who knows?
Oh, maybe.
And maybe in like a post-credit scene for this one, but I don't know. There's more questions in this Venom movie and everything they're doing with it than any I've had for any superhero movie. Really, there's so much writing on it, because you have the success of the MCU, which is undeniable, and so Sony is thinking, okay, we'll make a universe. We'll even take a universe with a character that's based literally off, like Venom has the white spider on his chest because of Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. So it's thinking, how are you gonna make this guy?
It's almost like they're gonna ride on the coattails of the MCU.
Right, exactly. They're just like, we're just gonna hop on here, I guess. Yeah. But then you just think, you're like, how are you gonna do that without? And if you do have Tom Holland, I think that's a score, because you don't even really need him to say anything. You just need to have him and Aunt May like passing through San Francisco. You have like a shot of an airplane, you see him, and everybody's like, oh, whoa, da, da, da.
If that happens, like in my mind already, I would consider it as an MCU movie.
Exactly.
I already consider the first Spider-Man, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man.
Wonderful.
I love that movie, and I consider it as an MCU movie, and people have called me out on it. You know who you are. And those who have called me out on it, I don't care. But I just love that movie, and it's a great origin story for Spider-Man. And who's to say that like if they do a good job on it, if they bring in Peter Parker, like who's to say that like that wouldn't be considered as an MCU movie?
Well, they think the only way that I believe that they could do that is Doctor Strange and obviously AntMan with the quantum realm. They both open up just the idea of multiple universes. And DC, I love DC, obviously. Some of you are probably wondering why the heck I'm wearing a Star Labs t-shirt. Love DC too. But the idea of the multiverse and DC Comics, and also the Marvel Cinematic Multiverse, is there's different universes, there's different places, and the genius thing, and who knows, because Kevin Feige plays chess, he doesn't play checkers. The most genius thing I think you could do is bring in because people had their fan bases of Tobey Maguire and Sam Raimi. Right. They had the Andrew Garfield fan base, and so everybody loves Tom Holland too. But one of the most genius things you could do is bring in all of those and just say, we skirt through the different universes. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Do you think audiences would be able to wrap their mind around that? I mean, I think comic book junkies will be able to get it, but like
the mainstream audience.
Yeah, mainstream audience. Which, I mean, this is a mainstream.
Yeah,
movie.
It's a mainstream, and I don't think it's too complicated, because you could just say, for example, in Doctor Strange, I'm pretty sure everybody got the concept that said what the Ancient One. What you say? Our universe is one of many.
Right. Yeah. That's
true. And so people, it's already in their mind like, oh, so there's another universe. Well, there's another Doctor Strange probably somewhere else who's not like in the Flash TV show. They just say, there's multiple universes. A universe where you're not the Flash.
And they did
a really good job, because it's really simple. It's just saying there's another Earth, Earth 2, or Earth 3, Earth 4, where there's different. And so Earth 2 Spider-Man could be Sam Raimi. Earth 3 Spider-Man could be Andrew Garfield. And if Marvel, I'm sure, if they did that, it would probably blow everyone's eyes. They'd be like, dude.
Dang. And who knows? Maybe that's what's going to happen in the Infinity War. Who knows? Maybe that's what Sony's going to be doing in their own verse.
Who knows? But
before we get into like even deeper theories or expectations, we actually had somebody send us in one of their videos to say what their expectations and their excitement for the new Venom movie that's going to be coming out. His name is Ryan Bittner, and DaBoss on YouTube. Go check him out. But he sent us in this video. Check it out.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name's DaBoss. I'm from the DaBoss official YouTube channel, and it's great to be here, guys. Well, first off, I think that for a company that's not Marvel that's making this movie, since Sony is producing it, what I'm expecting is I really don't want what happened with X-Men Origins for Wolverine. I don't want it screwed up, for one. What I'm expecting is I would expect an original storyline for Venom. I am expecting an entire big universe to potentially be made from this movie for the Venomverse or whatever you want to call it. Hopefully some really good acting, hopefully some good comic book relation to Venom and the other characters for the movie. What I mean by that is originality from the comic books, for like potentially for Venom's backstory, for character designs. I'm really hoping that they don't have a overuse of CGI, because as we've seen with a lot of different movies in the past from superhero franchises, CGI can make a movie pop and make it amazing, like with Infinity War, or it can make it just burn out completely with the overuse of it. So hopefully the CGI doesn't end up being cheesy and it doesn't get overused. And again, like I said, I'm really hoping that Venom does have a great comic book integration into it from Venom's original story. A string of Venom movies they could make from this, like Carnage, Anti-Venom. They could make a number of different Marvel spin-off movies from this. Like, maybe not Marvel spin-off movies, but you know what I mean. A whole bunch of movies that can come from this to form their own universe that Sony can start by having the Venom movie.
Wow, thank you so much, Ryan, for sending that in.
That was awesome.
That is so true. Like, I didn't really think about, like CGI. Mm-hmm. That could be a problem.
It could be, well, potentially huge. And it's what line are you going with? Because you could have Venom, I was saying earlier, not show up till the end of the movie. And then you won't have to do as much CGI. But if you're going Lethal Protector route and, you're wondering about the CGI, if there's multiple symbiotes, which you see in the trailer, there's two, right. At least two of them.
Yeah.
No, you wonder how's that going to turn out, and is that why they're holding off on showing us anything?
Yeah, and like again, that kind of like comes back to what I was saying about your confidence level.
Yes.
Sony, like are you confident in your CGI, or are you confident about us like not enjoying the CGI or whatever it is? Like a lot rides on this because like it opens up a lot of what they plan to do later, because there's a lot going on.
It's their version of Iron Man, and the big thing I think Sony has to ask themselves is the poster for the Venom movie was half Tom Hardy's face and half Venom.
Right, yeah.
And so I think that's very telling from a marketing standpoint to say, okay, are you trying to showcase Tom Hardy to sell people, to get people in seats? Or did you spend the time enough on Venom now to where you're confident in that? So that's going to be really interesting to watch, is if we're going to get a lot of Venom, or is it going to be 99% Tom Hardy with Venom in it?
There was also a time where Tom Hardy actually, by accident, kind of like leaked Carnage information.
No way.
Yeah, and so when I saw that, I was even more skeptical, because it's like, are you just using Carnage's name to want us to get us to go to the first movie? Because like their whole universe that they're going to be setting up here soon, it all rides on this. Kind of like what you were saying, this is their version of Iron Man. Like that's how it was for Iron Man in the MCU. Like if this doesn't work, then
I don't even think they were thinking MCU. They were just like, I hope this movie's good.
Yeah,
and then and then they teased up, Avengers at the end, saying, "Ooh, this would be fun. Let's see what happens." And then, of course, that blew up.
Right. So like everything really rides on this, and pressure like that, especially on Sony, who's already taken some hits on bad Spider-Man movies before. Like that's kind of like shaky ground.
Yeah.
So
it's gonna be hard to hit, and I would say, because like for me, I'm one of those few and far in between, maybe where I didn't think Amazing Spider-Man was that bad. I actually wouldn't have minded to see a third one, but it definitely didn't live up to the expectations. It was suffered from what Spider-Man 3 suffered from, and that's where I think they weren't learning. Like they had something good. I think a lot of people had a huge fan base for Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone, and Gwen Stacy. That was really emotional. I saw, and as a side note, I saw a deleted scene from The Amazing Spider-Man 2 where Peter meets his dad. I don't know if you ever saw this. No. It was a crazy emotional scene. It was at the end of the movie when he was in the graveyard. His dad shows up, and then Peter, he gets really upset. He's like, "You're not my dad. He died," and gets all mad. And that's when he gives him with great power comes great responsibility. And it was really interesting. And I was thinking, it's like, Sony,
you need to be careful.
Yeah, like why would you not put that? That may have saved your movie.
Maybe.
Like, I don't know, but they have a lot that they're putting on this movie, and with all the announcements, and obviously it's going to lead into what we're talking about now. What exactly are they doing?
Yeah.
Where do you see this going? And like I said, they put a lot on this movie. So
right.
We'll see.
So jumping into our third category, first off, we just want to say thank you so much to Ryan Bittner, who sent us in that video. His YouTube channel is DaBoss. Go check him out. He does a lot of really cool gaming stuff and all of that. But let's talk about what the plans are that Sony has. Like, let's talk about things that we already know that are going to be happening, or at least rumored as such. But like what? Like, do you think any of these will be good, or?
I have zero idea. Well, first of all, we mentioned this earlier, but I just don't know how Sony's yanking in all these A-list actors. You got Oscar winner Jared Leto, Tom Hardy, who should have had an Oscar at some point. But they're raking in this talent, and they have Morbius, that's confirmed is happening.
Right.
Jared Leto shared that picture on his Instagram account of the Morbius character and how excited he was. And on a side note to that too, just today I was watching a video and it talked about how he expressed interest in playing another villain of another comic book from, I forgot what comic it is. The protagonist's name is Bloodshot.
Mm-hmm.
And he expressed, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
He expressed interest about playing another villain, and I was just like, man, I'm really interested to see where they're going with this, but it's off topic.
I don't know. Vin Diesel is supposed to be Bloodshot.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's when my interest kind of left the table on that.
You're just thinking, nah. But, I don't know. I don't know, because aren't they trying to build to Sinister Six?
So, honestly, I don't really know what they're going for, because it kind of, I'm starting to get this kind of anti-hero Suicide Squad vibe within the Spider-Man universe. Talk about meta.
Silver and Black, which is on hold. I don't know if it's canceled, but that's supposed to be with Silver Sable. Who is that, by the
Black
way?
Cat.
I don't know who Silver Sable is.
Silver Sable is really cool. Interesting enough, she was one of the first comic books I ever owned, and it was really cool because I didn't really know who she was, and I was just like, oh, I'm gonna be the cool guy who knows who someone is and everybody else doesn't. But she's like a mercenary of sorts who runs into Spider-Man every now and then. Yeah, it's very, very interesting, and I don't know how they're gonna pull into like an anti-hero vibe with her, because I always just kind of consider her as a good guy. But Black Cat, where it's Silver and Black, when it's supposed to be both of them in a movie, that was interesting to me, because like Spider-Man has many love interests, and Black Cat's one of the biggest ones. Apart from Mary Jane, of course, but like she always had like a huge crush on her. Anyway, two women who are neither good nor bad. Yeah. In a movie.
Just that you're exactly right. The anti-hero vibe. I didn't think about that. It's very
there's that Silver and Black, which is either on hold or canceled at the moment. I think everything again rides on Venom and many of the other projects that Sony's going to be doing. But Morbius is an interesting one because. First off, he is one of Spider-Man's bad guys. He's not a very well-known.
No, not at all. I had to look up who it was
Really?
Well, actually, no. I remember when he said it. I remembered from the animated Spider-Man series.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I did remember that, and he had a pretty cool arc. I'm not gonna lie, I liked it.
Morbius is super cool. Yeah. But I do have to say this. I don't really get scared. Even when I was younger, I didn't really get very scared very much, especially from like reading books or comic books. Morbius, for some reason, scared the shiz out of me. I don't know why. Like the way that they drew him or something. So when I heard that they were going to bring him in, I got excited. But the kid inside me was like, don't see that movie.
Don't watch it. Yeah, I got you.
But like that would be really cool, because the thing is that he's a living vampire. Like he's like Angel. He's a vampire that kind of has a conscience and a soul. So it's like he is bad because of his nature, but he is still good because he still has that human side about him. And I feel like that could be its own movie on itself. In fact, like I'm almost hoping that Sony goes the route of this. Yeah, this is a comic book character, but like this is its own movie.
Right. I think if you're gonna make Morbius, he needs his own fleshed out area, almost separate of the whole.
Because I don't think it would work with like, hey, this is a character from Spider-Man. I feel like so many people are gonna be like, why does Spider-Man fight a vampire? You know, because like I feel like the general audience like aren't comic book junkies again. Like I don't think they get on board with that.
Well, vampires have a natural draw to them anyway.
Yeah.
You saw that with Twilight.
It's a
blew
huge
up.
fad.
It's a huge fad. Like people like vampires, Vampire Diaries, the originals on the CW, you know, all this stuff. Like people like vampires, and so that could be its own standalone thing. And I forgot to mention this. Have you heard of Silk? You heard what they're doing with that?
Yeah.
Which I think is interesting because that character is in Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Yeah.
The girl.
That was weird for me.
And so I don't. Again, it's this whole. What are you doing, Sven? I don't know what route they're taking. Are they trying to connect these two universes, or are they trying to just, as you mentioned before, ride the coattails? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what.
It was weird for me because it's just like this feels like a desperate move, because Silk, first off, don't know very much about her. She's not that old, so like she's like relatively new as a comic book character, like a few years old.
So for those who don't know, she's a Korean American Spider-Man Spider-Woman.
Spider-Girl, whatever you want to call her. There's so many Spider people.
She's a Korean American, so she has a mask that kind of covers her face right here, right above her nose.
It's yeah.
And she kind of looks like a ninja.
Yes, that's what I was going to go for.
Yeah. And she has long black hair, but I don't know her power set really, or
she's supposed to be stronger.
Is it just like stronger than Spider-Man?
Yeah, like she's supposed to be like more advanced than Spider-Man in a sense. And I don't know how I feel about it because, like, first off, gonna say this right off the bat. I am very much excited for Into the Spider-Verse.
Yes, that looks awesome.
Miles Morales. Like, I'm very much, like, cool with that. Even though I like him as a character. He's a really great character, as well as, like, his uncle, the Prowler. Very cool stuff in there because he himself is an anti-hero.
Yes,
the Prowler.
Yes.
So, like, there's a lot that can be done. But Miles Morales, I like him. Not the biggest into his comic books and all of that, but I'm really excited about that. You got Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Silk, you've got Spider-Girl or Spider-Woman, and then you've got
Spider-Gwen in the
Spider-Gwen.
Yeah.
And it's just like, these are all Spider people that I know is going to be
Peter Parker in the Spider-Verse too. So
yeah,
it's just like
true.
You have multiple people, and so
is this too many spider people? I mean, how many radioactive spiders can like get out of control and bite people?
One needs to get to me because I like that power set.
Yeah, you'd like that? The thing is that like I don't know how like Miles Morales is going to be his own character. Like I feel like that's what the movie's going to be about because it's Peter Parker teaching him how to be his own hero, you know, which is cool to me. But it's just like, what is Silk's? Like, what is her arc? Like, what is she?
Where does she fit in? And back to the whole multiverse thing, is this just going to be that same actor in a different Earth as the Spider-Man of this universe that Sony's building?
So Spider-Gwen was always really intriguing to me because it is
I don't even know her story.
Really?
I just know what she looks like.
She's got a pretty cool costume. She's pretty cool. But it's Gwen Stacy. It's Gwen Stacy.
Wow, when you're an idiot and you don't put those things together.
It's Gwen
Stacy. Wow,
right, but it's Gwen Stacy, but it's
don't hold
different...
me against this, by the way. I'm sorry. I was just rolling the moment. I was just like, yeah, Spider-Gwen. I heard about that. But then Gwen Stacy, that.
Right. I mean, like, people can fight you on that. But, like, it's what if there was an alternate universe to where Peter Parker didn't get bit by the spider, but it was Gwen Stacy. So when I heard that, I was like, that's interesting. That's cool because also Marvel has their whole multi-universe thing. And again, like, if I'm wrong in any of that, then I'm sorry because I don't read those comic books. But, like, that's what has been told to me, and that was very interesting to me. So, like, for them to pull into the Spider-Verse movie, which I'm excited for, but not so hyped on how many Spider-Men come after that, it makes me wonder if everything that you're saying is actually probably true. Like, where they can get away with... where Sony can get away with... with anything, really.
It's the concept of it, because once you have a concept, you can get away with anything. Just, for example, the CW. That's how they get away with having so many different characters. Like, for example, you have the Earth 2 Barry is just like a scientist, and the Earth 3 Flash is Jay Garrick. And it's just you have all your characters, they're just in different universes. And so that's why I'm wondering if they have Doctor Strange already leaked the concept, AntMan just amplifies that even more with, quantum realm and time moves differently here, and all this stuff, and there's different realities.
Not to mention the reality stone.
The reality stone. So it's just, there's so many things that Marvel's like teeing up to be like, hey, there's another Spider-Man somewhere. Hey, there's this dude named Venom in a different, there's a symbiote in this space. So it's just, I don't know.
Do you think Kevin Feige is kind of just like sitting back and saying like, let's see which one of these works so that we can reel him in?
I think he's got like a Magic Johnson no look pass coming where if he's surveying the landscape, and if he feels like it's a no look behind the back, people are gonna be so shocked. He's gonna be great. If not, he'll just take it.
See,
I don't know.
My thought process was actually like, what if Sony was trying to do their own Suicide Squad type team up with like within a Spider-Man verse, take in all of the anti-heroes to take on the Sinister Six. That'd be
I didn't
weird.
even think about that. That's something they would do though. It's just something. Right? It's something that's so. I feel like it's something they would do.
Here's something interesting too, though, is that in Spider-Man 2: Far From Home, well, first off, this blew my mind. I can't believe I didn't make this connection. But Spider-Man: Homecoming, Scorpion's in it.
Yes, he is.
I felt like an idiot when somebody had to tell me that. But like, he's there with the Vulture in prison, saying that we need to get the Spider-Man guy.
He said we have friends on the outside too.
Yes,
so
exactly.
That, yeah.
So it's like, what if? And then Mysterio's coming in the second one.
Right.
What if Marvel's just taking it up? What if Marvel's just like, we're gonna run with the Sinister Six and go from there? Mm-hmm. Who's to say that that's not what the next Avengers is gonna lead into? I don't know. There's a lot that can freaking happen here.
And then we just bring it full circle again. It just comes right back to what's going on with Spider-Man: Far From Home. What's that plot line going to be about? Because they haven't released anything about it. Then also Venom. It's just those two things. Like, what's Venom going to do, and what's Spider-Man 2?
It's funny because everything with Spider-Man right now is all hanging in the balance with Infinity War. I feel like everyone is kind of waiting to see like what's going to happen, because then everybody else can make their move. Like Marvel can make their move on marketing it, and then they can go on to a Sinister Six or whatever it is, but then Sony can just pick up from there and try and match whatever they're trying to do, and just run with that too. So there's a lot that can happen.
True. And what's the next Marvel movie we're getting?
That is the next one. Yeah. So we just had AntMan and the Wasp.
Right.
It depends on what you're talking about, because Captain Marvel's next, but it's not in the timeline. That takes place in the 90s.
And when's that coming out? December?
That comes out. Oh, I'm rusty on that. I would imagine it's late.
The next movie is Venom. It's going to be in October.
Yeah.
That's in August, September.
So I mean,
2.5 months.
MCU stuff. Yeah, it would be Captain Marvel, but like comic book in general. Yeah, that would be Venom. Interesting stuff. So it all kind of rides on that as well.
It's going to be interesting to see, because people are going to be scrutinized, looking for even a mention of Tom Holland in that movie.
Right.
Or Peter Parker or Spider-Man. And then the theories will begin,
So this is just like that. We leave you with all of this to think about, to then also say, come back and check us out to see what unfolds after Venom.
Who knows?
And maybe even after Infinity War, we don't know. I mean, like, come back here, subscribe to our content so that you can keep up to date with what we're talking about.
Subscribe down below.
Subscribe, but comment and tell us what you think. Be like Ryan and send us in your videos and tell us what you're looking forward to, and maybe even give us some of your reaction stuff. We have tons of social media platforms. Everything is listed down below, so check us out on all of that. We are definitely wanting to hear from you guys. So thank you so much for joining us here on Beside the Point, here on Nerdy Blurb TV. I've been Ryan.
I'm Justin.
And we'll see you again.
We are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams.